Today we have another makeup competition. You guys loved the first one that I did, Charlotte Tilbury versus Rare Beauty. I'll link it down below. But we have the top voted one, the one with the most thumbs up. Makeup by Mario versus Patrick Ta. Pause real quick. Who do you think is going to win before we even get into it? I'm surprised. These brands are also very similar to one another. I feel like they have the same type of products as well, so that just makes this job easier to pull out the products. Both brands are fairly new, and I just want to say I'm not comparing the people. I am strictly just comparing the makeup, seeing in which category I like the best. And these two have a pretty similar price point. I would say Patrick Ta is a hair more expensive than Makeup by Mario, but this one is interesting because Charlotte Tilbury versus Rare Beauty, they were quite different in price. This one, we're closer. So let's go ahead and get started. Both brands do not have a primer, so I just have a well-hydrated face. However, both brands do have their own foundations. So we're doing the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Foundation versus the Patrick Ta Cream Foundation and Finishing Powder Duo. Now you can tell that these two products are different styles, but we're gonna go ahead and get started with the Makeup by Mario first. It's been a little bit since I've used this, but I really enjoy this foundation. It has a fuller coverage to it, but I feel like it wears pretty well. Not amazing on the wear time, but pretty good. I just really like how perfecting this is. I did not need to put a full pump out, so I totally just wasted some product, but I'm using a sponge now from Real Techniques to push this in. So here's the Makeup by Mario. It's not a super blurring foundation. You can definitely still see the texture on my face, but overall, I very much enjoyed this foundation. Patrick Ta is next. If you watch my videos, you already know that this foundation was in my worst foundations of 2022 video. I literally hate this foundation. It is not good. So you can guess who's gonna win this round. Despite the fact that you get a little bit more with your money with the Patrick Ta because it also comes with a powder. Makeup by Mario does not have a setting powder in his line. I don't even care about that value aspect. I really dislike this foundation so much. It sits very heavy on my skin. It looks very textured. And it doesn't like go into the skin. It sits on top of the skin, and then it also looks very heavy as the day goes on. So I'm going to stop there. You can see that the Makeup by Mario has more coverage. Patrick Ta is actually a little bit more natural. I went a little bit lighter, but I just know I enjoy my experiences with the Makeup by Mario. Hate the Patrick Ta. Makeup by Mario wins this one. Both brands lack concealer, so I'm just gonna pop this on real quick. Let's move on to like the contour bronzer side. I feel like both of these brands are known for their contours, so this is going to be interesting. Now for Patrick Ta, we have the She Sculpted Cream Contour and Powder Duo. So we have a cream and a powder, so instantly you get 2 in 1. Now Makeup by Mario has a couple different products. There is a Soft Sculpt Shaping Stick, which has a little bit more pigment. It's probably a little closer to the cream in here, but what I think is even more close are the Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancers. So he has a cream skin enhancer and a powder, so I'm going to use these two against this one. I'm using the shade Light Medium for the Makeup by Mario. So we're going to start off with Light Medium. Now, this particular formula from Makeup by Mario has less pigment. If you're looking for more pigment, I highly recommend the contour stick. I love it. It's one of my all-time favorite contour sticks in the world. And it's a little closer, I would say, in formula to what you're going to get by Patrick Ta. But this one is beautiful because it is more sheer, so it looks more natural. It's better for more natural makeup days. In fact, I like the light shade for no makeup. But the light medium does go over my foundation fine. It's not super pigmented, but it does look very nice still, and it blends into the skin seamlessly. Now, the powder that I have is in light medium. It's the Soft Sculpt Skin Perfector, and this one's interesting because it has kind of a golden shade, a highlight shade to give an overall glow. Patrick Ta doesn't have something like this, but I'm just gonna use it to set. So I'm gonna put it all over top. If I'm being honest, I don't use this powder very often, but I'm gonna use it to set the contour today. Heading into Patrick Ta now. I'm using a lighter hand. I really enjoy this one as well. However, my only critique of this is I actually have this in 2 different colors. I'm using the shade She Sculpted today, but I found that in these, I have a lighter shade that I prefer the contour shade to for the cream, but I prefer the bronzer shade that's a powder in here. So I'm really in between 2 different shades, which I don't like. I feel like the powder and creams don't match up as well to my skin tone, but we're gonna make this work. You can see this has a little bit more pigment. It's very, very nice. I'm gonna use a light hand in the powder just to lightly set. Now, I'll be honest, the competition is really tough on these because these are both phenomenal products. They are both bestsellers for a reason, but I'm going to say because of the powder issue, I prefer the Makeup by Mario. They're different formulas, but I also prefer, if I were to do the cream stick versus the Patrick Ta, I would still choose the Makeup by Mario. So Makeup by Mario is winning, but you can't go wrong with either. They're both fantastic. Like, look at that. Gorgeous. Now, again, Patrick Ta's makeup line is a little bit different, but we're going to talk cream blushes. So I have the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Blush Stick in Pale Petal. And then a close color, as close as I could get, is the Patrick Ta Double Take Cream and Powder Blush in She's That Girl. Again, in terms of value, you're definitely getting more bang for your buck with the Patrick Ta. But if you just need one singular product, you can go with the Makeup by Mario. So I'm using a BK Beauty 109 to pat this on. I'll be honest, I don't use this blush formula that often, but it is very nice. I don't have anything bad to say. I think it has the perfect amount of color. It's a very pretty pink. It doesn't mess up anything underneath. This is a gorgeous shade. Applies very great. A nice formula. I feel like it feels a little bit harsh if you are to apply it directly to the skin, but with a brush, it's just fine. I just wiped off my brush. Let's go into the Patrick Ta formula. And I'm just going to pat this in. Now, this one is also a beautiful formula. I would say it has a little bit more pigment than the Makeup by Mario, but I've talked about this duo plenty of times on my channel. This is one of my favorite formulas that you can get from Sephora, especially with the nice duo. So, who's gonna win? You can't go wrong with either, but I much prefer the Patrick Ta. I think the value greatly outweighs the value of the Makeup by Mario, and I like the formula a little better. I'm talking about specifically the cream, but the powder being in this is a bonus. If you want a cream blush, get the duo here. First one for Patrick Ta, let's put him on the board. Okay, we also do have powder blushes. Of course, you could go with the powder blush in the Patrick Ta duo, but Patrick Ta does also have single blushes. So I pulled out She's Sincere from the Patrick Ta single blush line, and Makeup by Mario also does have a powder blush formula. I picked up the shade Creamy Peach. Now, I know these don't go perfectly with the blush, but I wanted to make sure I had similar colors. So I'm going to start off with Creamy Peach from Makeup by Mario. It has some little glimmer particles in there, but I don't find that they carry on the face. It's a nice solid powder blush formula. I've never had anything bad to say about this formula, but I also haven't really used it that much because there isn't anything exceptional about this formula, but it's nice. And honestly, when it comes to the powder blushes from Patrick Ta, I do feel the same as well. This isn't a formula I reach for a ton. There's a lot of other powder blushes I prefer over this, but also I don't have anything bad to say. I think the Patrick Ta has a little bit more sheerness, which I like. I prefer a blush that is more sheer. That's personal preferences. These are both pretty close to one another, but I do think Patrick Ta has a better shade range, and I do like the fact that it's more sheer. So Patrick Ta is going to win this one. Interesting, but Makeup by Mario has a powder highlight, and I'm surprised Patrick Ta does not, so we can't cover that category. All right, eyebrows. So we have the Makeup by Mario Master Blade Brow Pencil, and then the Patrick Ta Major Brow Definition Pencil. Now, I actually just picked up the Makeup by Mario pencil for today's review, so this is my first time trying it. I'm quite familiar with the Patrick Ta. The packaging of the Makeup by Mario is very interesting. Has a spoolie though, which is nice. The tip on this is a little bigger than what I prefer. I normally like something very fine, but it's not too wet or creamy, which is nice. It's not the driest. I honestly would say I prefer my eyebrow pencils pretty bone dry, but this is fine. Not my ideal shape, but it's not over blending, which is nice. Take this with a grain of salt since this is my first time ever using this product, since I only picked it up just for this video, but that filled in my brow really fast actually. That was quite efficient and it blends perfectly with the spoolie. Well, first impressions is I like this, but I've used the Patrick Ta many a times, and my favorite thing about this is how thin and tiny, just precise the pencil is, and this one I can tell is already more dry, which is what I prefer. So I like a softer color. I don't like it when a brow pencil applies too much color. Both get the job done nicely, but I do prefer the Patrick Ta. It's been a favorite of mine for a very long time. Don't have anything bad to say about the Makeup by Mario yet, but it is new to me, so keep that in mind. But I just like the shape, I like the consistency of it, I like how it blends out. Patrick Ta for the win on this round. We are, however, not yet done with brows. We have brow gels. So we have the Makeup by Mario Master Hold Brow Gel versus the Patrick Ta Major Lamination Gel. Okay, so this Makeup by Mario one I've been using for the past month, and I really like it. I think it has a strong hold but still feels light on the brows. So if you don't like your brows to feel too heavy with a brow gel, this one does a nice job. I do recommend to use the shorter side to get your brow hairs where they want. This softer side does not direct them as much if you like to really shape the brows, and it doesn't get gooky as you build it up. So this one is really nice, and when it dries down, it has a very nice hold. Even my brows before I got them laminated last week held up well with this one. And then for a while, the Patrick Ta Major Brow Lamination Gel was my favorite. It was in many favorites videos. Probably benefit from a new one. Now this one is interesting. It's kind of like glue in the eyebrows, and this was probably the first of its kind. It was in the early days of lamination gels, so it was definitely the best for the time period. And it does have a decent hold. I did find that before my brows were laminated, when they would get a little bit longer, this didn't have the hold that I wanted, but when my brows are trimmed, I do enjoy this hold. It is quite strong. I can't believe I'm saying this because I loved the Patrick Ta for so long, but I just like how mess-free, non-gooky the Makeup by Mario is. So Makeup by Mario is going to win this round. I'm actually very shocked, but I've been enjoying the Makeup by Mario more. But again, both are very nice, and I love how unique the Patrick Ta is. Eyeshadow palettes are going to be tough because both brands have launched eyeshadow palettes that I love. Now, Makeup by Mario has a few, so I picked my favorite with my favorite formula just to make it fair. So we have the Ethereal Eyes palette from Makeup by Mario. Then we have the original Major Dimension eyeshadow palette from Patrick Ta. I feel like there's enough similarities that we can get a close look. So I'm going to start off with this shade from the Makeup by Mario. And the reason why I picked this Makeup by Mario palette is because I feel like it has the most luxe formula. The shadows blend very easily. And I feel like they have a sheerness to them that a lot of luxury shadows have, where they start off sheer, so they blend like a dream, but you can absolutely build it up to get the desired pigment. It's the kind of situation where you can make one eyeshadow look like multiple different eyeshadows. on your eyelid just by building and blending, which is an impressive aspect of luxury eyeshadows. You'll see that I'm going to keep the eye look pretty simple today just because I want the looks to be as close to one another as possible. And one thing that screamed luxury about this palette to me is these shimmer shades that Makeup by Mario has 4 of. They're just a really fine glimmer that a lot of lower priced palettes can't source. And they look so pretty on the eyelid. So I've never used these palettes side by side, obviously, so I really want to see how these formulas compare. I feel like when it comes to Patrick Ta, his palettes are very monochromatic. This is a little bit warmer than the Makeup by Mario. I would say, at least with this first shade, instantly the Patrick Ta has more pigment, which is not a bad thing. When it comes to personal preferences, I like a sheer shadow, but I can absolutely get down with some good pigment level as well. I think sheer is a little easier for every day, but I'll adjust if necessary. Then I think this one is kind of close to what I use next. And this Patrick Ta palette is also very, very popular. It's sold really well. I would love to see him come out with more eyeshadow palettes. Eyeshadow palettes just unfortunately aren't as trendy at this exact moment, but I need them to come back. Then I'm going to use the darkest shade. Now the Makeup by Mario palette is not available right now. It was a limited edition product, but he needs to come out with more also because that one was great as well. But the Patrick Ta one is still available, and honestly, it's gorgeous and you can get really quick, easy looks. I'm definitely getting more pigment from Patrick Ta, which might appeal to you more. I don't know which one I like better. I think they're both great. They're both fantastic formulas. And then I'm going to use this shade right here, which is more lid toppery. It's a little bit more white than the Makeup by Mario. The glimmers are a little bit bigger, not as microfine, but still gorgeous nonetheless. There's a hint more warmth in my Patrick Ta eye, but both are stunning. Honestly, to say one formula is better than the other would be a lie. I think these are kind of a tie, but the palette that I prefer, that I'm going to reach for more, is the Makeup by Mario because I do prefer that airbrush easy blend that this gives because it's a more sheer formula. So for me, I'm going to give this one to Makeup by Mario. However, it is by like this much. It's 100% personal preference of what I would use and wear more because both of these are equal on par with the quality. I just like the Makeup by Mario a little better. And even to say I like it better is a bit too strong. I don't even like it better. I'm using that formula more. I'm reaching for that formula more. And then the next category that we have is eyeliners. And they're still in the boxes. I purchased both of these to use in today's review. I've never used either of these before, so just keep that in mind. But I wanted a similar product. So we have the Makeup by Mario Master Pigment Pro in the shade Perfect Brown versus the Patrick Ta Major Dimension Precision Gel Liner in Rich Brown. So Makeup by Mario's has a brush that you can smudge with if you want. Let's see, I'm gonna have to update you on wear time, so I think I'm going to create a short form video of these comparisons, and if the rankings change, it's going to be because I'll have worn them for longer and can tell you. But let's see. Okay, it's pretty creamy. Very pigmented. Let's see how this smudges. Oh, this makes it a lot easier for a smooth application. I'm just running it through the lashes. Okay, I really like this, but obviously it's very early to tell for a pencil. Let's check out the Patrick Ta. So this one has a smaller tip, which normally I prefer. Let's see. I would say the Patrick Ta has a little bit more dryness to it. It's not gliding quite as easily. However, it's not dragging by any means. And it's a little easier to apply with the smaller tip. And even though I say it's drier, that could mean that it wears better. But it does have just a little bit more drag than the Makeup by Mario. So it's a bit too early to tell with these, but based on initial application, I would say the Makeup by Mario is more my speed. I like the smudger. I feel like it's a little bit creamier to glide across the upper lash line. But this could melt away because it's creamier and this could last longer. So right now, Makeup by Mario is going to win this one, but I will update you if anything changes in the comments because that could switch up everything. We'll see. But Makeup by Mario, somebody's got to win. And I thought Makeup by Mario had a mascara, but I looked online and I was wrong. So I'm going to throw on the Patrick Ta mascara, which is one of my all-time faves. So when and if Makeup by Mario comes out with the mascara, it is going to be a tough game to beat out this one. Okay, lip liner. Now, I only had one color from the Makeup by Mario line, and the Patrick Ta, I didn't have a color very close, so I'm going to kind of mix and see if we can get close. They're going to look different. But again, with the Makeup by Mario, they have the brush that you can smudge with, which is a nice plus. So I have the shade Lauren. Not too creamy, but also not too dry. And bonus points that this is sharpenable. I just prefer a sharpenable pencil. And then also I really like the brush. However, I also really love the Patrick Ta lip liners. I've always really loved them. They've always been a favorite. These are not sharpenable, but I've always loved their shape. Like I said, I don't have a close color, so I'm starting off with She's Proud. I will say, even though the Makeup by Mario is sharpenable, I feel like there's something about the way that you can just get precision with the shape. It also has less pigment, so it looks more natural. Do you see how pigmented this one was? So it kind of depends on what you're looking for, and I'm gonna mix a little bit of She Must Be New, which is like Lauren, but a lot darker. I'm gonna try and go really light. Ah, that's closer than I thought. I'm using a super light hand. Okay, going into this, I wasn't sure which one I preferred. I actually really liked the specs, if you will, of the Makeup by Mario, but I prefer the Patrick Ta. I just feel like I get more precision with it, even though you don't sharpen it. I like that I can go lighter and get a lighter color, press harder for something darker. The Makeup by Mario, it's a little bit of a messier application, believe it or not. So Patrick Ta wins this round. I have a couple of different lip products that I'm going to compare. First one is going to be the Makeup by Mario Cozy Lip Cream versus Patrick Ta Silky Lip Cream. Battle of the lip creams. I don't reach for lip creams very often. So this is Pinky Brown from Makeup by Mario. It actually gives a nice blur over the lips that I wasn't expecting. And then Patrick Ta, I have the shade She's Secure. This one has more of a glossy look to it. The color does not match with the Patrick Ta liner, so just ignore that. Interesting. So because I've never directly compared these, the Makeup by Mario is more dry, Patrick Ta is more creamy, but in terms of a lip cream, I would expect it to behave more like the Makeup by Mario. I don't know which I prefer, honestly. I think, and this one's close. Both are nice. In terms of reaching for a lip cream, I'm going to reach for the Makeup by Mario more because I expect it to be a little bit drier how this looks, more matte. And also I'm noticing the Patrick Ta can easily look a little gunky. So I'm going to choose Makeup by Mario on this. I do have one last lip product I want to try. Both brands have cream lipsticks. So we have the Makeup by Mario Ultra Suede Lipstick versus the Patrick Ta lipstick. So Makeup by Mario is in the shade Cam. It's a little warmer than the Patrick Ta color. This one, since it's a suede lipstick, has a matte finish. And then here's the Patrick Ta. Patrick Ta also has a matte finish, but I can tell you right now, I've always preferred the Patrick Ta to the Makeup by Mario. I find the Makeup by Mario to be a little bit more dry and have more drag. My lips just don't like it as much. I find the Patrick Ta much more creamy, much more comfortable. I've just never really liked the Makeup by Mario. Now, both brands do kind of have a glittery lip gloss, but I didn't have the Makeup by Mario, and it was online only, so I couldn't buy it, so that's it. These are the two looks. Give me a second to pull myself together. I know the lips are a little wonky, so just ignore that because I didn't have matching lip liner colors. But which side do you prefer right now? Makeup by Mario or Patrick Ta? Now the truth will be in the wear time. When I did Charlotte Tilbury versus Rare Beauty, at the start both looked exactly the same. They didn't look like the price differential between the two, but as time went on, you could definitely start to tell the difference. So I will update you as both of these are on my face for longer, but honestly both sides look pretty much the same. I will say the foundation from the Patrick Ta, it just looks more unflattering. You can kind of see some more fine lines compared to the Makeup by Mario. The Makeup by Mario foundation looks a little bit heavier because it does have more coverage, but it also looks smoother. So I do prefer the Makeup by Mario base side, but I actually really like the way the Patrick Ta cheek products have blended into the skin. It's pretty close right now, honestly. There's not much difference at all. I'll keep you updated. But let's do the count, because I haven't done the count. So numerically, the winner of today's competition is Makeup by Mario, but it was so close. Makeup by Mario was 6. Patrick Ta had 5 points, so there was only a 1 point differential. But honestly, with the eyeliner, it could change. With the eyeshadow, it could change. But for today's makeup competition, Makeup by Mario wins 6-5 compared to Patrick Ta, but it was very, very, very close once again. So I'm going to show you quickly how everything wore, if I've changed my mind, how everything settles into the skin right here. Okay, so it's been a few hours. I wanted to update you on how we're doing. So this is Makeup by Mario, this is Patrick Ta. Ignore this eyelash coming off, that's my own problem. But I like the foundation better on this side with the Makeup by Mario, which I knew that from the beginning, so if you have a good foundation, the side just looks better. However, the Patrick Ta cheek colors are just, they're looking more seamless. Now, Makeup by Mario has actually lasted longer in terms of vibrancy, so longevity, I'm actually feeling the Makeup by Mario more, but I'm still team Patrick Ta with cheek colors because it blends in so seamlessly with the skin. So still team Patrick Ta, but just for reference, Makeup by Mario has a little bit of a better wear time. Everything is really as expected. I put the eyeliner in the waterline. I don't know if you can see. Makeup by Mario is holding up way better than Patrick Ta. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a very close matchup, and that is portraying on the face. It looks really close. I can't pick a side that looks better. I feel like with the Charlotte Tilbury versus Rare Beauty, it was obvious which one looked better. But no, I mean, the score was 6-5, and I feel like that's how it should be because they both look very similar. I don't have a preference for whatever side. They both look great. So I just wanted to keep you updated on that in case there were any crazy discoveries. They really aren't. They're very evenly matched makeup brands is what I would say, and they just look good, and they just have their different strengths and weaknesses. And that's all I have for today's makeup competition. I want you to comment down below what brands you want to see compared in the comments, and then make sure if you see one that you want to see compared, you give a thumbs up, because the one with the most likes will be the one that I go into next. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.